Hey guys, we're back. Different weekend. Took a little time off during the week to do shop stuff, and then now we're back on here. Where I was leaving off with that was the air pump bracket. We were waiting for that to get wrapped up. We built that in-house. Jeremiah designed it and everything, so it'll bolt to the LS1 or any LS motors for that matter, with the vintage air front runner kit. So this is what we came up with. So we got this guy here, bolts to the block right here, attaches to the alternator, sits right in there. We got the idler pulley and all that business. The pump, it's a York style low consumption pump from Little Shop, and that's who we get all our pumps from. So there you go. Problem is, this guy is still up on the lift. Got cars under it. I got cars you know, in front of it, all that. Kind of a pain. I'm gonna shimmy on up there and get this thing in. So once the pump is installed, then I can press in the lines in the back. Need to make a weather pack connection to trigger the compressor. Fingers crossed, should fire up and pump things. So I already went through and did the oil levels, torqued the clutch on there and all that business. So it's ready to go on. Got the heater blowing right at us here, so not going to be cold up here today. I already got the serpentine off, got the air filter out of the way, moved that air intake up a little bit. I have to make another little bracket right here to extend it, but pump's going to live right in this area. Got a couple mounting points right here on the side of the head, and then down here on the side of the block, and then that arm that you saw goes up and over the alternator and gets right here in that bolt. Again, this is for the vintage air front runner kit on all LS engines, so you know, the Little Shop kits are made for truck. I'm gonna pull out that bolt for the alternator back there first, and then I can get the pump fitted in there. All right, wrapping up the last bolt on here for the alternator. Then I'll hook up the air line again. And then back there coiled up is the power wire for this thing. I'll have to make a weather pack connector for it. Yeah! I already got myself underneath there lots of sharp things. So yeah, pulley alignment looks good on there. And so yeah, I'm gonna hook up the feed line from the tank, or from the pump to the tank. And then down here coiled up, and this mess is just a little power wire, so we're thinking we can run it up and over with the rest of the harness. We'll try that. Pump is in, and now I need to measure for a belt. We're gonna route it up and over, down the idler, back up to the alternator, so we got good grip on there. I got the weather pack made for the connector back here, and that routes back there into no man's land. But right now, let's measure for a serpentine belt, and probably have to run to Napa to grab one, but I doubt we have one around here. I got serpentine belt routed around in there. We have a donor one that we use. It's all cut up so we can kind of measure them out. Not a whole lot of options on where I can route it. Wish there was more contact there on that alternator. I think I'm going to go ahead and run it though. Everything else is good. So I'm going to measure it up and probably run down to Napa and grab another belt. So let's go down below, measure it. So from this side, you can kind of see how everything's routed. Got the idlers and around the alternator and the air pump back over this side. So I got to crank on that tensioner there, get some slack out of it, and then I'll measure it right there. See, we joined them together. I guess I didn't need to. You never know how long these things are going to be when they're snaking around in there. Like I said, I wish I had more contact with the alternator, but if it sat a little bit higher like the truck ones do, then it would have a little more wrap on it. Pretty easy from this point here. We'll just take it back out of there, hold up a tape, measure it out, and then go to the parts store and grab one. 84 5/8. That's what I came up with when I measured it out. So off to Napa. Side note, Dane's working on his truck. We'll talk soon. More on that later. I went ahead and grabbed 3 belts, but the first one worked. 84 5/8. So anyway, it's all installed, and hopefully it doesn't sling off immediately. Everything on this end is hooked up, so I need to move to the back, and I'll get the air lines cut the length and pushed up into the manifold, and then move inside, hook up the controller, and then should be ready to fire this thing up. Man, that line hangs down kind of low. That'll be fine. Maybe I should move that. Probably. Leaving off where I left off. Picking up where I left off. That's what I meant. Got everything labeled here. I already have the exhaust and the tank fill lines hooked up here. So I just need to trim this stuff down. There's like a mile of line up here that I've used forever. And I guess this is it. Once I trim it off, plug it in, it's official at that point. So, and then we'll cycle it, see if it does things. Hopefully it does, fingers crossed. Are cut and installed, should be in the right corners. Got the main harness plugged into it as well, and everything's kind of routed. 950 zip ties. That should hold it in place there for now. I can always come back later and tidy it up. Probably won't, but I guess now I need to find a controller, plug it in, get inside the car, fire this thing up, and see if the compressor works. Up in the 58 treehouse up here, got my airlift controller, we got the cord, and I had to hunt for this adapter thing, but we got it. It's been about 3 months since this thing has started, so that should be fine. I'll hit the key, get this thing fired up, and then we should be able to see if there's any tank stuff going on. And there's Dane. Dane found it up my treehouse here. Yeah, make sure there's no fires or anything up there. You want to keep an eye on it up there.
No idea what you're saying.
You want to keep an eye on it up there. Just make sure I don't set it on fire.
Yeah.
It has been a while since this thing started, so.
That is true. Just make sure it's in
Turn the key to
park.
on. Yeah.
Launching Bill's
Well,
truck.
this thing's not coming on, so
That's cool.
that's not a good start.
I wonder why it smells so good in here.
Well, this has no power to it,
Huh.
so that's not
Is
a
anything in power? Oh, okay.
That's not a good start. I think I'll start it anyway, just to make sure it fires up and doesn't swing the belt off there. And
Alright.
start with that. All right, fingers crossed. Oh, no brakes. Cool. It's trying. It's the Come on now. It's trying. Belt still on there? Is the belt still on?
Heck yeah.
Good. All right. Well, belt stayed on. That's a win.
Sick.
Controller's not working. Not so much. Motor fires up. Clutch kicks on. We wired it in right here. There's a little switch in the defroster here. That kicks the compressor on, the engine-driven one, or turns it off. You know, security. If I want to air it out and then shut that off, then somebody's going to have to drag this thing out of here. Fortunately, I can't use it. Not getting any power to this guy, so I need to troubleshoot it a little bit. I'll report back. Reporting back. Another weekend. Where I left off there, weren't getting power to the controller, and I probed around a little bit, and it just got to be a little bit of a pain up on the lift. So, moving on, we've got other things to worry about. not really worried, but to tackle still. So on here, we still need to tackle the issue of AC vents. Vintage Air gave us a retrofitting electric converter for the stock switches here. The defrost one we have wired up as a compressor kill or on. These will all be heat and fan and AC and whatnot. I need to hide the ducting, but I don't want to plow a bunch of holes into the dash or anything like that. What I'm thinking is I got a few things that I need to wire in here or plumb in eventually. So we have switches for the heated seats, and then yes, it has heated seats because why not. And then I have these vent balls here for the AC ducts, and these are from Vintage Air also. Kind of nice. They just swivel around and do things, kind of. Where's it at? I swear to you, here we go, swiveling. Kind of hard one-handed, I guess. There we are. So swiveled. There, not lying. I need to get these laid out here, and I was thinking about building a drop-down panel that went across there. Plus, it would kind of hide the evap there. And then I can tuck one of these here, and then another one here, and then one over there in that corner, and then maybe just do a standalone one over here. And then I can incorporate the seat heaters on there, and it'll cover all that, plus give a place for the ducting. I think that's probably the best bet. I was just gonna do individual pods all over the place, but that would look kind of silly. And then I thought about placing the airlift controller also. I don't really want to stare at that all the time either, so I'm just gonna keep it loose and I can tuck it away or keep it on the seat or something like that. Step one, I need to start making some templates. Drop down, kind of come up with some ideas and a game plan. There's lots of flange underneath here to mount to. The other option, I could put the switches for the seat inside the glove box. You know, still need a glove box. We could do that too. I don't know. I'll probably just put them in that deal. We'll see how it goes. We'll get it cut out and in place. So we'll make templates. I'm gonna start off with some cardboard, like always. Make some templates, see what we come up with. So as you know, just like on everything else that we build around here from scratch, I like to start with the chipboard. It's non-corrugated stuff, as you probably know, but it bends and breaks and you can tape it, and it acts a lot like sheet metal for a fraction of the cost. I'm gonna get one cut up and we'll get it in the car. So I did a quick little measurement and determined that 37 inches is pretty good underneath the dash. That perfect. This is 38 inches long, so I can trim it down. We got our vents to template, so basically we just need a flange to attach it to the bottom of the dash, and then a brake. And I think what I'm going to do is build a box. Basically towards the steering column we'll have it kind of curved so it looks a little nicer than a squared off box. Get this thing laid out, and then we'll figure out our spacing on it once I get this roughed in, cut, and all that business. I think what I'm going to do is add a little on the ends there so I can flange it, just to add a little extra rigidity in the thing. I could always weld on an end cap too, which might be easier honestly, but basically this is the stuff I need to trim off, so I know this is 37 here. That's where I want to end. Get this sucker centered in there. I don't want it to be any bigger than it needs to be. Keep it kind of minimal, just leave enough room to get the corrugated tubing around the back side to clip on. Got it all laid out. Vent, brake, curve for the dash, curve for the dash. I'm gonna cut this out, set it in the car, figure out where the shifter fits, and then center the other two, or the other one right next to it here for the passenger. Hopefully the shifter falls in here somewhere. We'll see. Might be some gappage here. I don't know. This is why we're laying it out. Let's do it. Easier than scissors. Now we break it. Like I said earlier, it's a lot like sheet metals. Put in the sheet metal brake. Put in the sheet metal shear. It's user friendly. So I'm gonna get this sucker broke up and we'll throw it in the car, see what we see. See here. So break it in like that. Put it over, break it down. Kind of want to do this the other way. Great. I'm gonna grab a Sharpie. Since I cut the radius in it already, I gotta transfer it to the other side here, so. 1. 2. Not super high tech. Connect the dots and brake. Here we go. Good. Go nice and 90. A little springy, gotta over brake it. Alright, do that to the other side. One dot. Oh, where'd that one go? Yep, pretty self-explanatory, I think. Would be kind of cool as if this ain't a roll in it, but that creates other issues. So I'm just going to work this down a little bit to over brake it. So when it's under the dash, it's sloped a little bit, so it's going to have to be a little over broke later. And then I can just make some sheet metal to cap this end, finish it off. But I need to determine if this is the right location for it. To the car. Quick grips installed, way overkill. But where I'm sitting at doesn't look too bad. I don't really like this angle here, but the way it ties into the other dash there kind of needs to be there. Might be able to soften it up a little bit. I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's too good, but put a vent here, measure off of this, which is nice and straight. We'll put the other one right about here. I'll center it up in the tunnel. I mean, should work. And then what do we do with these gross looking seat heaters switches? I mean, you can hide them, or you can embrace them. They got little lights in there, tell you that things are happening. I'm kind of thinking maybe we finish busting this thing out of sheet metal first, and then get it rehung in there, and then determine. As far as this side goes, we just need to make like a little standalone pod for the corner. Yeah, that one shouldn't be too bad, but you kind of see what we got going on here. So we'll stick where'd that vent go? There it is. Put that right there, kind of balance that, and then one over there, and then yeah, then we just got seat heaters. Now I'm debating whether or not I want to change the shape of this, make it flow. I mean, all the lines are nice and horizontal across the dash. It'll probably work. Would be kind of cool to get some of this stuff that's blank, fill that with it. I don't know. I just don't know. What do you think? I suppose at the end of the day, if I hate it, then, you know, I won't use it. Right now, I think we go with it. Right now I have a couple of screws right here that are used to hold this controller on. And I'll just transfer those, make little lines here to line up. And any other little holes I see underneath there, like, that's a pretty good size hole. That one too, they're all on the same plane. That one there may get in the way of the vent, but I'll transfer those down to there, then I'll have some way to attach it after the fact. Now I think make some marks on it, pull it off, and then transfer it to some sheet metal. What if we wrap that in vinyl? Can carry through the old grandma's tooled leather over here. Tooled vinyl, I should say. Who am I kidding? It's not leather. But wrap that in that. Would that be too much? Could use the darker vinyl. I kind of think that maybe that would be the way to go. I don't know. Comment below if you strongly disagree. Could actually put piping and stuff on it. So many options. Got my marks for the screw holes. I got to get this other vent hole put in there, and then we'll move it to the bench. I was really hoping I didn't have to drag out a full sheet of 18 gauge. It's kind of heavy, so I'll lop some off. I got everything centered for the vents, and then centered up this up here where I got holes to mount it under the dash. So I'll get that transferred over to some sheet metal and start punching some holes. Quick little catch up. I'm working in the dark now.